Week 4, Lesson 3, Targeting Kids. When you read many Golden Age comics, those are comics that were released between the years 1938 and 1953, you'll see that there's a trend most of them follow. There will be an original idea, or a Superman ripoff with a twist on his powers. That character will showcase her powers and cause some death and collateral damage. Then, they take a much lighter tone, making jokes, promoting law officials, and sparing the villains' lives. The most famous example of this was Batman. Batman was dark. He ended his first issue letting a criminal melt alive in acid. During his 7th appearance in Detective Comics, issue number 33, Batman's origin was revealed, where we got his motivation to become the Batman. As a young kid, his parents were shot dead in front of him by a random mugger. This gave a realistic and grounded motivation for someone to fight crime in their spare time. Batman's costume was a costume usually reserved for villains. It was dark, menacing, and inspired fear more than hope. He used the night to his advantage. His villains were mad scientists and hooded occult figures. What were his villains doing? They were performing strange experiments. One was a man named Dr. Death who had his face burnt off. One was a vampire who Batman killed with a gun. There was a mad scientist who stole people's faces and put them on flowers. This was surreal and disturbing stuff. So, what happened? Well, it became clear that the children were starting to buy comics. A significant amount of comics. And Batman got a sidekick. He was Robin, the Boy Wonder, whose real identity was Dick Grayson, son of a pair of circus performers who were killed by a mobster because their circus failed to pay protection money. Batman hires the boy as his ward and trains him to be his sidekick in nighttime activities. They fight crime together. Detective Comics, issue number 38, April 1940, Dick Grayson makes his first appearance as Robin, the Boy Wonder. But his first appearance as Robin made sense for Batman. Batman was fighting crime alone and needed a partner. He also needed someone saner than he was to keep him grounded to reality. Robin's first issue was dark enough. Batman and Robin went after the man responsible for the death of Robin's parents. The man was caught, seemingly sent to the electric chair, and Robin stayed on as Batman's sidekick. The very next appearance of Robin was in Batman, issue number 1. Batman had graduated from leading Detective Comics and got a series completely dedicated to him. Batman and Robin were up against the Joker, and this clown wasn't joking around. He plans elaborate heists, kills people and paralyzes them with his smiling gas, a gas that causes them to die with smiles on their faces. Instead of killing him like Batman killed the thug in the first appearance, or the vampire later on, they capture the Joker and bring him to the police station. The second story in the issue had Batman face off against mutated giants who were causing chaos in the city. They were too strong to attack in person, so Batman gets into his bat-themed plane, the Bat Plane, and shoots some truck drivers. As much as I hate to take human life, I'm afraid this time, it's necessary. Then the tat-tat-tat-tat-tat onomatopoeia signifies that he's shooting his machine gun. He then lassos a noose around a giant's neck and flies in the sky until the giant is strangled to death. He then drugs another giant on top of a skyscraper, letting it fall to its death. These giants were just human victims of an experiment, so Batman's starting to get a body count. These are pretty dark tales and are in step with what went on before. It's the next story in the same issue that a tonal shift begins to appear. This is the first Robin-centric story ever made, as Robin gets more page space dedicated to him than Batman. It turns out that Bruce Wayne has ripped out an expensive diamond on a cruise ship. When the diamond is stolen, Robin tries to figure out who the suspect and culprits are. To catch the thief, Batman uses a costume party to draw him out, and goes to it dressed like Batman. This causes the thief to flee. It turns out that the real thief is an old woman, who is really a young woman using makeup to make herself appear old. Batman is shocked by the pretty woman, stops her partner, Denny, and captures her. This is where it gets interesting. Batman captures a thief known as the Cat, later renamed Catwoman, and she offers him a proposition. She says, "Batman, I was supposed to give Denny half my jewels. Why don't you come in as a partner in crime with me? You and I together? You and I, king and cream of crime? We'd make a great team. With you as my partner, we... Sorry, your proposition tempts me, but we work on different sides of the law. Let's go. So Batman and Robin go to the wharf, escorting Catwoman. Robin says, "Well, we're home. There's the wharf now." "Why didn't you leave me behind on the yacht instead of taking me to the police yourself?" "I've got my reasons." And we can see reasons is underlined for dramatic effect. Suddenly, the cat leaps to her feet and... "Watch her! She's jumped overboard!" "Fancy that!" As Robin makes ready to jump after the cat, the Batman clumsily bumps into him. "Hey!" "Oops, sorry, Robin." By the time they recover, the cat has made good her escape. "Too late! She's gone and... Say, I'll bet you bumped into me on purpose. That's why you took her along with us, so she might try a break." "Why, Robin, my boy, whatever gave you such an idea? Nice night, isn't it?" Batman spends the last panel pondering what a lovely girl the cat is. Up until this point, Batman had been fighting horror monsters, mad scientists, psychotic gangsters, and the Joker, which combined all of those elements. The story about the cat jewel thief was a much safer adventure. It allowed Robin to have a much larger role than just Batman's backup. Batman even lets the cat get away, since he has a bit of a crush on her. He's admitted to being tempted to go to crime with her, and he just showed some mercy by letting her go. Mainly because she wasn't a dangerous criminal, unlike everyone else Batman fought up until this point. This is a turning point in Batman's existence. He lets the criminal go, he has a fun, lighthearted adventure, he uses his detective skills to solve the problem, there's a colorful costume party, and Robin plays a main part in the adventure. Also, the entire adventure happens during the day, when it's light outside. But the stories didn't instantly change there. They eased into the lighthearted nature Batman would become known for. Later, the same issue, the Joker escapes, goes on a killing spree, and fights Batman and Robin, where he accidentally stabs himself with a knife. Batman and Robin leave him for dead and let the police handle it. We see a mutual respect between the police and Batman, and they realize that they're unofficially helping each other. Oh, and of course the Joker? He lives to fight again. The last panel on the last page, we get promotion for Robin's regulars. What are Robin's regulars? Well, if you're a young boy, they just might be you. This orange background panel showcases the golden rules for Robin's regulars. Robin's code spelled out for us. Readiness, obedience, brotherhood, industriousness, nationalism. We see an elderly man crossing the street. "Thank you so much for helping an old man cross the street. I'd like to pay you for it." "Oh, no, sir. I couldn't take anything. You see, I'm a member of Robin's Regulars. Our first motto is, always be helpful to those who need help." Now, why is this panel important? Because if you've just read the Joker stories, you'd be excused in thinking that the comic's trying to target an older demographic. But, in reading the Catwoman story and the final panel, we see that the younger audience is starting to be pandered to. But it was a gradual transition, which I would argue finally became a complete children's comic in Batman issue number 10, which was released in April 1942, months after America joined the Second World War. We see the cover that Batman and Robin are not in any danger, or in any dynamic poses. They're just standing on a comic page, ready to draw on it. In the comic, Batman and Robin are in 4 stories. One where they go to the jungle and fight a dinosaur. One where they help a kid who's run away from home. One where Catwoman hired people to dress like Batman. And one where Batman and Robin fly out west to see a pioneer town who still lives like it's the year 1880. While there are gangsters in this issue, stopping them isn't the main plot of the book. All but the runaway story take place during the day. Batman has now lost his dark aesthetic, and is completely safe for children to read, with little to nothing to target the adult readers. Dr. Fate went from a character that killed his enemies, from aliens to extra-dimensional horrors, to a guy who just punched out crooks because it was safer and simpler to draw. Superman went for someone who was trying to change society by directly attacking its problems, like we saw the time he fought traffic, to a guy who just reacted to situations, like robberies. He'd help out people when they asked him to, but unless they were committing a crime, he'd stay out of their business. His lessons became about teaching children morals. There were some comics where the dangers would take a backseat to teaching someone, usually a Metropolis citizen we'd never see again, a lesson. The books were clearly trying to talk down to their readers. The success of Robin and Dick Tracy Jr. led to other sidekicks and kid-led teams, like the Boy Commandos, the Junior Justice Society of America, Kid Eternity, Bucky, and of course, the Marvel family. The superhero genre was this new, crazy, fantastical genre where the heroes always won the day on their own terms. Kids wanted to be part of it, and wanted the characters that they could connect to. Writers and editors picked up on this and started catering to them. This would be a trend in superhero comics that would grow throughout the war and become the dominant staple of the genre by the 1950s. With adults and growing kids finding that the superhero genre wasn't as stimulating anymore, this led to the rise and popularity of other comics, which we'll take a look at in the Week 5 videos. Questions to contemplate. If the superhero genre was to completely disappear in today's comics, what genre do you think would replace them? Can you think of another example of a genre which started to exclusively target children?